All right, I have 2 o'clock, so we will go ahead and start. I want to introduce Catherine. Catherine, I'll let you introduce everybody that you have today on Uwill, and then I do have the recording going on. I will also help monitor the chat box. I would imagine you probably want questions at the very end, so make sure everybody has their mic muted right now. And then at the end, if you do have questions for our guest speakers today, go ahead and unmute yourself. There will be time at the end for questions and answers. So I'm going to pass it on to you women and take it away.
Wonderful. Thanks, Trudy, and thanks everyone for inviting us to your meeting today. Let's start our conversation with an agenda and introductions. We'll then take a look and welcome Gwinnett Technical College to present a Uwill case study. From there, we'll go into an overview of Uwill, who we are and what we do. We'll then jump into a partnership launch and what the easy steps are that are involved in launching a partnership with Uwill. And then finally, we'll conclude with questions and next steps. So my name is Catherine Wanga. I'm Director of Business Development here at Uwill. I've worked with Uwill for over a year now, but have been in higher ed technology for over 15 years, based just outside of Baltimore, Maryland. And I work specifically with the Southeast Territory, including North Carolina. So I'll pass it over to Jillian next.
Thank you, Catherine. My name is Jillian Wiseman, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development here at Uwill. What that means is I'm overseeing sales, new business, and it's a pleasure to be here to work alongside Gwinnett Technical College to, just help discuss Uwill, what we have done, and really showcase what Gwinnett Technical College has been able to do for their students. Carolyn, if you'd be so kind to introduce yourself as well.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carolyn Duvin. I am the Executive Director of Student Support Services at Gwinnett Tech. We are located in Lawrence. Our main campus is in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Right now, I'm at our Alpharetta campus. We had a big event today, so it looks a little bit different behind me than our meeting before. I oversee student support offices on campus, including career services, our special populations and disability services, our student success center, and military and veteran students.
Great. So thanks for those introductions. And Carolyn, if we could ask you to kick us off and share a little bit more about your experience with Uwill.
Absolutely. So a little bit more. In January of this year, in 2024, I was still over our counseling center. Our coordinator had left, and our one counselor that we had left put in her resignation, and our president determined that it was time to close our counseling center due to employee turnover. We had not been able to keep a counselor employed for more than like 2 years. We'd had 3 coordinators in 5 years. That's a tough sell. So in January of this year, our counseling center closed. Our counselors had worked really hard to create a solid reputation on campus. Our faculty and staff felt very comfortable referring our students to our counseling center, and we had a really outstanding relationship in talking through issues that students might be having. And we lost that in January. So next slide for me, Jillian. So we were like, my boss pretty much said, I don't know what to do. My boss is a vice president. And so I said, well, let's start with Google. So I Googled, college mental health support. I went through all of my emails from NASPA and ACPA to look at every single vendor that had been sent to me. And I started doing research. I really began with the question of what would it look like if all students had access to mental health support? It's my favorite question to ask. And we started then looking at companies that offered more expanded mental health support than we were able to when we had 2 counselors on campus. And we ultimately looked at 5 different companies Uwill, Timely Care, Better Mind, Virtual Care Group, and Aspire. Aspire is a company that we had used before in the state of Georgia. And so it was something that was known to us that we put in place. And we were kind of measuring everything against Aspire. At the end, we narrowed it down to 2 companies, myself and our project manager for the Division of Student Affairs, met with everybody, got the details, and we looked at Uwill and Timely Care as our top 2 choices. And through that purchasing process, we really felt comfortable and confident that Uwill, the staff, the folks who'd be running our account, really understood what we were doing at the technical colleges, what our limitations were, and how we would need support in the future. So that is kind of our process. Uwill, for me, and for my vice president too, what was really good for us was, I'm not going to go in the order of this because it's in no particular order, but diversity was really important to us. I don't know if you're familiar with Gwinnett County and North Fulton counties. It's our service area is one of the most diverse places in the entire United States. And it's really hard to hire a diverse counseling center when we have such a diverse place. And so Uwill really showed how the counselors and providers that they hire really run the gamut of different identities and different life experiences to really match that diversity that we experience on our campus. Students would be able to access the platform 24/7, which is something that we wanted. With a counseling center, it was, no after hours care. We were looking for something that would be able to help support students after business hours. Like many of your schools, our students are working, they have families, they might be taking day classes and working at night. We wanted a product that was going to be able to be flexible for our students in ways that maybe a traditional counseling center wasn't able to be. We really like the data that we get access to, and I'm going to show you some of that a little bit later in the presentation. So when we were using Aspire, all we got was the number of clicks and the number of people who called a phone number. We didn't actually get any data about what the students were asking questions about, what they were talking about. They really, there was a lot of confidentiality, which I appreciated, but it wasn't easy for us to be able to get a pulse of what's going on. And the data that we have access to through the dashboard has been really helpful to help guide conversations with my student success department, for example, being able to say, these are the top 5 things that are going on with our students who are using this service. So that's been great. And then the ownership of the platform, it was important for us to be able to have some flexibility, to feel like we had control over, who gets to use the product and things. And the Uwill product, we upload an eligibility list, and it's very easy for us to do that. We can log in, we can have, we don't have any clinical folks on campus. And so we don't get clinical referrals or clinical notes, but we get the data, and we get the ability to be able to log in and see the usage, which is something that Aspire and some of the other products didn't really give us the opportunity to do. So that diversity, being able to serve our students with counselors and providers that look like them, talk like them, have similar experiences, speak the same native language was important. Being able to get that either be able to make an appointment after hours and meet somebody after hours was important. And that data piece has been critical. So we didn't lose the budget. We lost the personnel lines. The retention and the consistent hiring was something that our president had concerns about. So we didn't lose the funding. So we put the funding to our counseling center right back into mental health support. We rolled it out in the summertime. So I think we started May 31st was the first time that we rolled anything out. I sent emails to students. That was it. I sent an email to the students and an email to faculty and staff, and we had students signed up the next day. Students were accessing and using the resources immediately. And now I did emails again, and we're working on putting signs in the bathrooms and some additional signs around campus. Today, part of my job at the event was talking about Uwill and our BIT team about how we can help support students. And so getting Uwill out there has been a little bit easier than I anticipated. This is a quote at the bottom of the screen. I was really surprised at how fast it was for me to upload the list. Now, I do a couple of other things on campus. I work with our Amazon Career Choice program, and none of it is ever as easy as just uploading a CSV file of emails. And that's how simple it's been for me to use this product. And our students have also found it to be easy to access. So we've had 155 students who've registered for the who've registered for Uwill, and there's 118 active students. That means students who've searched, done something other than just putting in their email. We've had 73 completed appointments and 10 upcoming appointments. Now 73 appointments over 4 months, that's like 3 to 4 counselors worth of work being able to help support those students. I'm really impressed with the amount of usage that our students have gotten out of it. And that's the 4 months. Yeah, 4 months that we've been live. This is what's interesting about this particular page for me is if you were to put the Gwinnett Tech demographics up right next to this, you're going to see representation. Our students who go to our school are using this. I don't see any outliers, or I don't see we have 33% of our students are Black or African American. The usage along that line, it's very on par with our demographics for enrollees at our school. And then mostly video, which I think it's interesting because I think our students, sometimes we make assumptions about people don't want to see people. I think people do want to connect. They really do. The phone piece, students do this while driving. I don't recommend it. I've been to therapy. I don't recommend it, but if that's what a student's going to choose to do, I want to make sure that they have access to it. And then our students, this immediate response piece, our students vary, right? 70% want to meet that same day. About half of them want to meet within the week, and about 30% within 2 weeks. But that rings true to me, where some students it's emergent, some students it's urgent, and some students say, I know I'm going to need help, right? And so you can kind of see that. Now, this is interesting for me because I think I make a lot of assumptions about my students in that they can only do things at night. But if you'll look, the highest requested time for appointments is from noon to 3. The times that students are accessing this is noon to 3. That's interesting information for me as an administrator to know, when do I send a text message to my students? When do I send information out? When are they going to be available to do things? They're very clearly telling us that information. Other products didn't have this kind of breakdown for us. And then this is we're always looking for ways to justify the work that we do, why we do programming, how we support students. Knowing that the top 5 issues that our students are searching for include trauma, isolation and loneliness, academic concerns, grief and loss, that's very telling for my staff as we look to plan webinars, professional development for our professional staff members. Knowing that the top 5 reasons for using Uwill are stress, anxiety, depression, relationship problems, and family concerns. Those are the top 5 nationally. Our students are consistent with students from across the country. It's sometimes nice to know that we're one of a pack and not by ourselves. And then the wellness programs, it's good for us to know that students are like meditation, right? the mindfulness is a good piece of it. So Jillian, I don't have access to these. Jillian pulled some of these out and sent me the comments this morning and she shared one on Monday that I felt comfortable, and I'm not normally comfortable. Like, that just really tells me that the students can be who they are, and that the providers and counselors and therapists that Uwill hires are going to be there and do the kinds of work that our students need. Our students have rated Uwill 9.27 out of 10. We know that people aren't going to rate, like, if they like it, they're going to give a 10. If they hate it, it's going to be a 1. There's not going to be anything in the middle. But students are appreciating this. Opening our students' eyes to the things that they might be doing subconsciously. I'm not going to read those verbatim to you, but our students are having a positive experience using the Uwill system. I think that's my last slide. And so I'm going to be quiet now, but I'm going to hang out. I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm going to hang out. So after Jillian and Catherine are done, if you have questions for me specifically, I will be hanging out until afterward.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. So really, really appreciate having Carolyn with us to show the impact of what Uwill can do on any type of student. I always like to say that mental health does not discriminate, and what we're able to provide is that support to any type of student. So what I'm planning to do now is do an overview of Uwill. You got the impact and all of the data first. Now let's talk a little bit more about who we are and what we actually do provide to these students. So I always like to start off by talking about what's going on with students. You're not alone. So many students are dealing with mental health issues. As a mother who just sent off her only 2 kids that are twins to college, I see all the boards. I know all the problems and stressors that students are feeling today. So it's even more impactful in my life, and knowing what we provide is just wonderful. So the stressor here for the colleges is you guys are limited. There's only so much you can do. You heard that Gwinnett Technical did not have a counseling center that could be consistently staffed. Now, everyone is different. It does not matter if you do have a counseling center or you don't. We work with you, and we will dovetail into what your needs are and support you in the best way possible. And we understand the limitations that you have, and there is some good news. There's that silver lining that there's really a lot of high quality mental health professionals that are really looking to get connected. And that's where Uwill came from. We came as a direct result of the needs that students have, and we've become a recognized leader in student mental health. And I'm going to say one of the major reasons for this is what we built. So we built a software platform. This is an all-in-one platform where you have the flexibility to choose what you want. We built this platform with purpose and intent to provide immediacy to students, to remove all barriers to care, as well as to provide equitable access to all types of students, especially those that are not drawn to traditional counseling. We really want to help break the stigma together and get more students to access and really help them with all the stressors that they have in life. So I'm going to walk through the 3 major components that we have for students, and then talk a little bit more about the data that we're able to provide the colleges. Now, UMatch, that is our flagship proprietary product. That's the teletherapy. This is an immediate appointment with a licensed therapist, and it's driven by needs and preferences. So I'm going to break this down a little bit to you because you saw all that data on the back end. When we say an immediate appointment, we have built this where a student can register and book their first appointment in 5 minutes. That's the removal of a barrier of care. Now, you saw that students are able to get same-day appointments. It's interesting that Gwinnett Technical, 17% asked for same day. Across all of Uwill, it's actually 32% is our average. So you're going to see all different types of needs, but it doesn't matter. We're able to provide immediate appointments for those students. When we say licensed therapists, these are independently licensed therapists. What that means is they do not need supervision. In fact, they average 12 years experience. We're trying to bring the best to your students. And when we say it's driven by needs and preferences, what we mean by that is we're not going to show your students every single licensed therapist in North Carolina where they have to trudge through. They finally find someone they like and they don't have availability for 3 weeks. What we do is we built a proprietary matching technology. Students are going to enter criteria. They're going to be able to say, I want to see someone today, within a week, within 2 weeks. They can pick the gender, ethnicity, language, or clinical need. And we have a matching technology that's going to yield the 5 best matches for those students. The students can read the biographies, they can look at the picture. Sometimes it's intangible reasons why someone picks someone, but we're only going to show them available counselors in the time frame that they requested. So again, that's what our UMatch is. UHelp, that's our direct connection to a licensed counselor trained in trauma, and this is available 24/7, 365 days a year. You saw that there's already been 7 crisis calls with Gwinnett Technical. This is no limit to you. So you can provide this to your students, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what makes this unique in the industry. So I understand, I think the state of North Carolina may have a contract with Protocol. I'm actually going to talk how we are actually different from them. So we have licensed counselors that are answering the phone. This isn't like an EAP where they are care consultants that are trained in crisis answering the phone that only need a bachelor's degree. In that case, they will make sure if it's a crisis, they will pass it on, and then a call can drop, and that's not good for the students. With UHelp and our product, because it's getting answered within 30 seconds by a licensed counselor, they are the one who can assess the situation and de-escalate the situation. Also unique to Uwill, we have some case management baked in here. Within 48 hours of the student calling us, we're going to follow up with them to make sure they're doing okay. We're also going to follow up with them within 30 days to make sure they're doing okay. We do not want any student to fall through the cracks. Also, our UHelp works in concert with UMatch, and here's why. Most of the calls that we receive on a crisis line, it could be almost 90% plus, are not defined as a crisis, but they are to the student, and you never want to discount a student's feelings. So after we assess and de-escalate and make sure there is no imminent risk to that student or others, most of the time that student actually needs therapy. So because we're an all-in-one solution, we will then set them up with a UMatch teletherapy appointment. And then when we follow up in 48 hours, we're actually going to not only make sure they're okay, but we're going to make sure that they followed through on the action items that we gave them. So again, we want to make sure that all students are taken care of and no one slips through the cracks. Last, the third component is URISE, and that's our wellness component. So what comes with, if you purchase UMatch, you're always going to get URISE. If you purchase UHelp, you're always going to get URISE. This is the on-demand wellness program, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and this is a wonderful complement to therapy. And in fact, sometimes we find that students will come on and then they will maybe play with searches and that they will look at some of the wellness content before making that first appointment. That actually you can see with 151 students that have registered and 118 are active. those are the ones that are playing because there's only been 73 appointments. So again, whatever we can do to break that stigma. We also have URise Plus, and this is a little bit unique because we have an exclusive partnership with Headspace. So that is an additional cost, but we are able to provide Headspace to all of your students. And along with that, we have streaming series. It is nutrition, yoga, or relationships. Think of it as 26 episodes in all of those categories, and students can just learn from them. So again, this wellness component really does capture and encapsulate all the items that students are needing today, and also a wonderful complement to the other products that we offer. And then lastly, we have You Collaborate, and that's the full transparency in everything we do. You saw a lot of the items that Carolyn walked through. You have access to all of this data. In fact, it is real-time data. And what I mean by that is we happened to meet with Carolyn on Friday. Well, those numbers actually went up over the weekend. And when I was looking yesterday morning to last night, the numbers kept creeping up. You can see it in real time, and there's nowhere to hide. You saw that we're a 9.27 with Gwinnett Technical. We're actually a 9.3 across all of our clients, and we usually start lower and then get higher. So I would not be surprised if Gwinnett Technical goes higher, because last week we were a 9.21 and now we're that 9.27. So it's going to creep up. So again, we also would like to say that it helps with coordination of care if you do have a counseling center. There are two different dashboards. Now with Gwinnett Technical, because they only have, they do not have a counseling center, so they do not have a licensed clinician on staff, they will only have access to the aggregate data, which still, you heard, it was powerful, what that data can have and what it can help for all the programs they could roll out to students. But we also have a clinical dashboard, which provides aggregate data, but also student identifying data and complete call logs. So you will always be able to understand what your students are using, how they're using it. Please also keep in mind that we'll always have your emergency protocols in front of us. So if anything ever truly escalates to a crisis, we will follow those emergency protocols and also reach out to you to let you know what happened. So that is our mental health environment. Usually I say, does anyone have any questions? But I'm going to save those to the end because we're going to have plenty of time. Right now, what I'm going to try to do is click this button and see if this is going to work, where you can then hear this. So I'm going to have someone tell me I can hear it or I cannot hear it, and then we'll have to just play with settings. So this is going to be the student experience as well as the clinical and organizational admin experience. I hope you can hear it.
I'm going to present the Uwill experience from the perspective of a
We
student,
can hear it.
then from the perspective
Great.
of an organizational admin. Let's begin with the student experience. To start, I'll select I'm looking for mental health support. From here, I'll need to provide some basic information such as name, birth date, gender and personal pronouns, telephone number, email address, and password. Next, I'll provide additional information, including my address, so I'm matched with a provider who is licensed in my area, as well as 2 emergency contacts. I also have the opportunity to provide optional information such as graduation date, ethnicity, reasons for using Uwill, areas of focus, and anything more I'd like to share. On this last screen, I'm presented with terms and conditions. Once reviewed and agreed to, my registration is complete. Following registration, I arrive at the Uwill dashboard, where I can research therapists, book an appointment, explore URise, and adjust my profile information. Let's walk through a provider search. I'll start my search by indicating my preference around gender and how soon I'd like to see a therapist. Note I have the option to filter my search with additional items such as ethnicity, language, and focus area. Once my preferences are in, I then select Find Therapists. I'm now presented with a list of therapists to choose from. As you can see, I can easily sort through the provider profiles to get a sense for who they are. Okay, I think Carrie looks like a good fit for me. Let's see what her availability is. I'd like to find a time midweek in the afternoon, so I'll look at Wednesday. 2 o'clock looks good. I'll select a video appointment, and after that, I have the option of including an additional note to Carrie to offer her a bit of background as to why I'm looking for support. Since this is my first appointment with Uwill, I'll need to read and agree to an informed consent form. Note this consent form is only required for my first appointment with Uwill. And that's it. I'm greeted with an on-screen message and will receive an email confirmation regarding my appointment. I can return to this dashboard at any time to view the appointment details, reschedule, or cancel the appointment. Let's take a moment to review some of the other items on this dashboard. Beyond booking an appointment with a therapist, I can also access URise directly from my dashboard. URise presents instructor-led programs designed to complement therapy, offering tutorials, best practices, and tips across a range of topics such as self-esteem, resilience, stress and anxiety, and sleep. URise is continually introducing new events and exercises on a regular basis. Finally, UHelp information is also featured on the dashboard. With UHelp, students in need of urgent mental health support can speak with a licensed counselor trained in crisis. Available 24/7, UHelp providers are prepared to assess, de-escalate, and stabilize the student with consideration for emergency coordination where appropriate. This is a look at the organizational admin view. As a first step, I want to draw your attention to the different sections of the dashboard. Organizational admins will have access to student activity, search activity, and administration. Clinical admins will have access to all of this information, as well as student details. Okay, let's start with the main view. Administrators always have access to real-time analytics. Note you can filter this information by time frame. So you can easily adjust the view to all time, select from a list of popular time frames, or review a specific time period of your choosing. This first section presents usage and engagement, offering insight into how your students have rated Uwill, the number of students registered with Uwill, activity, and the total number of sessions. Moving down, you will see areas of need, illustrating student preferences across reasons for using Uwill, as well as areas of focus. Just below, we have a breakdown of session types spanning video, phone, chat, message, and if applicable, crisis calls through UHelp. This last section presents student ethnicity and gender. Returning to the top, the My Reports button allows administrators and clinicians to establish automated reports to run at a cadence of your choosing. As you can see, we have a number of pre-populated reports you may select from. Let's move on to the search activity section of the dashboard. This area presents the criteria your student selected when searching for a therapist. As with student activity, all data presented is in real time, and you can adjust your view to reflect a specific time frame. Walking through this section, activity is broken down to reflect gender, time frame, ethnicity, language, and focus area. The next section of the dashboard is the student details area. Note this section is only available for clinical administrators within your organization. This top view allows you to take a look at student session details. Here, you can see that this user has had 5 appointments with Uwill. Clinical admins may take a deeper look at the student's profile information. They may also select the calendar icon to review the dates and statuses of those 5 appointments. Below, you will see our UHelp information. This is only available to organizations that have UHelp in place. As you can see, we offer real-time crisis call data. A clinical admin will have the option to review this information in detail. The next section of the dashboard is the administration area. Depending upon how you set up your organizational profile, your administrators may use this area to manage student eligibility. Finally, similar to the student view, all administrators have access to URise, which offers instructor-led wellness programs designed to complement therapy. You can use these programs for personal use, or review the content and offer suggestions to your students.
So that is what it looks like. And I hope you got a good feeling as to really putting together what the data was that we compiled and Carolyn walked through, as well as understanding the student experience and what the students have access to and how easy it is to access it. Now, I do want to just talk about, when we start any relationship, Carolyn did mention that it was a lot easier, the support that you provide. We have a customer success team. So anyone who joins the Uwill and partners with us, we're going to support you with a dedicated account manager. We also want to help market this. Utilization is actually very important to us. We want students to use us. So how we do that is with sophisticated marketing materials. You kind of heard about the emails, and then there's posters. We have it all, and we are able to even, I don't know how they did it, but you can do it in your school colors. Maybe you enter your Pantone colors, and then all of a sudden it looks like it's from you. So it's really, really nice and different types. You have emails, you have posters, lawn signs, whatever it takes to get the students to know that Uwill's around to help support them. Just a little bit about us, like who is Uwill? We all come from an ed tech background, and we've grown quite fast where, we have over 400 higher ed clients. We're supporting 3 million students worldwide. The technology that we built, you heard me say that we built it with purpose and intent behind it, but it was built for students because we understand they want immediacy, and it was built for you, the administrators at the colleges, because we understand that you want data, and that's what is provided to both. Now, when it comes to our counselors, we do have counselors that are available in all 50 states as well as worldwide coverage. If you do have those that some international students, what is unique here is we really want to make sure that we have the counselors that mirror your demographics. So we're going to see and check out what our regional footprint is, and we'll recruit in accordance with your population. So, as you can tell, there's mainly, at least, I think she said, at least 1/3 of the students or Black or African American. We made sure that we have enough Black or African American counselors for those students, because when a student identifies with a counselor with similar experiences and backgrounds, a more positive outcome will occur. As you can see, we have a number of our select clients here. Even the entire Alabama Community College system has joined and partnered with us. But, again, it doesn't matter where you are, everyone is facing the same problems. If you're wondering, we are NASPA's teletherapy educational partner for the 3rd year. If you are familiar with online, we're OLC's exclusive teletherapy partner, and very exciting. Last month, we were ranked by Inc. 5000 as the 27th fastest growing private company in the United States. We are out of Massachusetts, and we're the #1 fastest growing in Massachusetts. But again, 27 out of all of the US is pretty exciting. Just want to talk a little bit more about our counselors, as they're truly at the foundation of what we offer. We have those, counselors, licensed counselors in all 50 states, worldwide coverage, and all of our counselors are background checked, they're license checked, they commit their time to us. You saw the embedded counselor calendars in the software. And these are our own family of counselors. We're not tapping out to a network. We actually call them family of counselors because we treat them like a family of counselors, and they are really good to us and our students. And as you can see, diversity is extremely important to us. As I stated, we want those to pick who they want, and we want to empower the student to connect with who they think would be best for them. just to talk about how easy it is to launch, a partnership with Uwill. Once we talk about what you want and we give you options, you're able to select what program is best for you. It could be that you only want teletherapy, and that's okay. You automatically get the wellness resources. If you want to also have the crisis connection, that's okay as well. Every school's needs are different, and so we don't believe in a one size fits all. So once you select the program and we get an agreement underway, we will set up that kickoff meeting to go over the program. We're going to go through the onboarding form of who's going to have access to data, what are your emergency protocols, also understand the demographics. So we will then start recruiting in the accordance with that population. And within 30 days of signing that contract, we can get you up and running. It can be that quick. So again, we try to take and we carry the lift and make things as easy as possible for you. If you are interested in reaching out, my name is there, but it's really all about Catherine. If you reach out to me, it's going to Catherine, but I'm happy to meet you at any conference if you go there. But again, here is our information. Feel free to reach out to us, and I'm sure we'll follow up with you as well. But that really is it for our presentation. Would love to, stop and answer any questions. In fact, Carolyn may be one to answer the questions as well. And I would love to stop sharing my screen so I can see all your smiling faces. Oh, you're not even on camera. That's okay. Does anyone have any questions? So that Kindle has a question. Oh, I just saw it. Was there an age limit? Let me look at the chat right now. There's a bunch of questions. I'm going to start with, is there an age minimum to receive the services? We have a lot of early college dual enrolled high school students under the age of 18. We are able to help those that are dual enrollment and under the age of 18. Every single state has an age of consent for therapy. I don't know offhand what it is in North Carolina, but I rely on the counselor success team to know that. We already have built in that if you are under the age, so for example, I know in the state of New Jersey, if you are 16 or older, you're able to have a teletherapy appointment without parental or guardian consent. If you are 15 or under in the state of New Jersey, we have built in to get that consent. So we're able to help your high school or underage students with our platform. So that is the only question that I have seen. I don't know if anyone else has any questions about Uwill or about for this. I'm going to read the, Carolyn just wrote, the way we have it set up is that our credit enrolled students are eligible to use the system and our dual enrolled students do not pay fees, and that is how they're using it. I actually would like to touch upon that. If you noticed, there's many different ways that we can validate students. And everyone is different, so we want to be flexible to everyone's needs. What works best with Gwinnett Technical, because they only want the credit enrolled students to have access, they use an eligibility list that's very easy to use. There's also other ways to do this. One is through valid domain. The other way is through an integration, but that then you have to get IT involved. So whatever is easiest for you, we will do for you. And then
I was going to say, I'm reading the chat. Dr. JJ Evans said, does the same hold true for CCR or CE? I don't know what CCR stands for. I'm trying to put it in my head. CE is that continuing ed. This is just for our credit students. We're learning how, like our counseling center was only for our credit students. College and career readiness we in Georgia, we have something called Career Plus High School. Those students are currently eligible because they pay the college fees and are concurrently enrolled in the high school program at the technical college level. But I think it's more based on what your policies and procedures are. Like, we got to dictate all of that with Uwill. And so if it's something that you allow or services that you provide, you can create that eligibility for yourself. We never shut off email addresses for any single student. So anyone who's ever been at Gwinnett Tech at any point in their life still has a Gwinnett Tech email address, which is hundreds of thousands of people, like maybe 100,000. We couldn't have all of those students having access if they weren't currently enrolled. It feels real funky. Catherine and I had talked about it. Jillian and I had talked about it. It feels funky to say, no, you can't use this, but we really want to make sure that our students who are enrolled, who are paying for the who are paying to be there, are the ones that are able to use that software. So I think it really depends on your funding and what that looks like. So they're not gonna tell you no. I really got to work with my boss and the folks at my campus to tell you, Will, what and how we needed it set up. They gave me the options and we got to choose.
Any other questions? Now you have their attention, so I have a few minutes left. So if there's questions that you want, you don't ask me. You need to ask these experts, Catherine and Carolyn and Jillian.
So there is another question that came in and asked about discussing the pricing structure. So I'm going to really give a 30,000 foot view for this. And we're more than happy to have meetings and really discuss what your needs are. But when we say one size does not fit all, that's exactly what we mean. How we will structure this is it's based on population. So oftentimes when it comes to the community colleges or two-year colleges, you have part-time, you have full-time. So we actually take into consideration that population and the utilization where even though, you could say our FTE is, 5,000, I always like to say a half a person still has feelings. So we will price it though fairly, knowing what type of utilization that a two-year college has. However, Gwinnett Technical is blowing my mind that they're already at 2%. And I mean, summer is always lower. So good for them. As I said, we want people to use it. So once we understand what population that you want to help, so if you want everyone, in fact, your dual enrollment, you give us the, what your enrollment is, and then you have to decide, it's a per student pricing model. That is the most equitable model for you because you want everyone to have access to this, where if you only have sessions in the counseling center, it's hard to budget. Who do you give it to? 61% of students who use us have never even entered the counseling center. So you need to understand and figure out, okay, how many sessions would we like to give each student? Sometimes that's dictated by, we want to match what our counseling center already has. Sometimes it's dictated by budget. So if you say we only have X dollars to spend, we're going to back into that budget as well. Same goes for the crisis, component, the 24/7 direct crisis connection, also based on that population. And then we will provide you what that price is. So if you are interested in what the pricing is for your institution, please do not hesitate to reach out to Catherine or myself, and we will set up a meeting to ask you a few questions and then provide you, a very fair price. So that's a 30,000 foot view, but it's based on that student and how many students you have, how many sessions you want. Do you want crisis? Do you want to add URISE Plus? And then we're able to present what that is to you.
And Jillian and Catherine and Carolyn, could you put in the chat, put your email addresses in case we do have some people that want to contact you, that it'll be right here in the chat.
Absolutely.
I-
And I was just gonna, sorry, Jillian. I know we're on a Uwill call. I priced out all of those different options, and Uwill is not any more expensive or less expensive than the top of the line for any product. Our Aspire, which was basically a student assistance or an employee assistance program, was the same price as Uwill is, and we believe that the product that we're getting is better than what the Aspire provided. So it was about the same general cost, particularly with timely care too.
Thank you, Carolyn, for that information. Anybody else have any questions? We have a couple minutes left. Or if you don't want to type it into the chat, you can always unmute yourself and ask directly. Oh, I'm not seeing any more questions. So I want to thank Catherine, Carolyn, and Jillian for this wonderful information about Uwill. And I hope people will take advantage of a good product. And again, thank you for your time and the information and your presentation. It was quite interesting and well worth it. So I appreciate your time. And Carolyn, I know how busy you are, so thank you so much for at Gwinnett Tech. I know I'm a Georgia Peach. I used to be there, so I know what you're doing. I know how busy.
We hit 11,000 students this year for the first time in history. We're slightly busy, so
Yeah, I bet you are.
same. Keep doing the good work in North Carolina. I'm going to be up there in Charlotte for a conference in November. So love your fair state. Bye, everybody.
Margaret, do you have a
Thank you,
question
everyone.
before we leave? You unmuted yourself.
No,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Okay. Everybody have a great day. All right.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.